All right, our speaker today is somebody who we know and love, and just always brings us that energy and those stories that lift us up and give us the insights that we need and call us for. It's Reverend Dr. Jan Limberg Morgan.
Thank you. I've been scanning the room looking for the stool. Because I'm pretty resilient, but at this point in my life, I don't stand for long times. I can walk for long times, but I can't stand. Yes, I can, I just choose not to. May something that I say today find a place in your heart, that it may go with you and nourish you. The title of my talk today is World Peace. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? You know, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore named imagination as one of the 12 inherent faculties inside every individual, each faculty reflecting our divine potential. Now, the power of imagination is the ability to envision possibilities, to create mental images, and to manifest these ideas in reality. It allows us to visualize our goals, our dreams, and our desires. And we transform these abstract thoughts into tangible, concrete form. Today, my focus will be on the concept that imagination can transform not only our own lives, but those in our community, those in our country, and those in our world. Think of all the famous people whose curiosity and imagination have changed the world. Christopher Columbus, Ferdinand Magellan, Sir Francis Drake, Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Edison, the Wright brothers, Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, Jacques Cousteau, Steve Jobs. These are just a few of them. Inventors, explorers, artists, scientists, and technological geniuses. But each in their own way changed our experience of the world we live in. But of all of them, the two men that stand out for me are the Wright brothers. Why? Because they taught us how to fly. They literally and figuratively gave us wings. Prior to them, it had all been theory and experiment, but they were the ones that gave us wings. The Wright brothers, Wilbur, born in 1867, and Orville, born in 1871. Their story is one of vision, persistence, and triumph of human ingenuity. They were self-taught inventors from Dayton, Ohio, whose fascination with flight changed the world forever. While they were still small boys, their father gave them a helicopter made of cork, bamboo, and elastic bands. I beg your pardon. All right, can we just take it off?
Yes.
That was easy. It fascinated them. They watched as it lifted itself off into the air, and they wondered how it could transform how they could transform that concept of actual flight for humans. Two little boys looking at an elastic band and some bamboo and visualizing flight for humanity. Hello? They were both mechanically gifted. They sold and repaired bicycles in their own store. And that provided them with the money and the mechanical experience to experiment with aerodynamics and engineering. They took a scientific step-by-step approach, and they studied the work of earlier aviation experimenters. In 1901, they built a wind tunnel, the first practical one, to test over 200 wing shapes. Now, this was a major breakthrough. They realized it was control, not power, that would determine the success of keeping any aircraft airborne. On December 17th, in 1903, at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, which they selected because of the even winds, the wind conditions were perfect for what they wanted. Orville piloted the first powered, controlled flight, 120 feet in 12 seconds. And Wilbur followed with 852 feet in 59 seconds. By 1905, their Flyer 3 could stay aloft for 39 minutes. And demonstrations in the US and Europe established them as the fathers of modern aviation. The Wrights introduced the key principles of control, aerodynamics, and propeller design that underpin all modern aircraft. And their legacy is one of imagination, persistence, and scientific innovation. Wilbur Wright said, "The desire to fly is an idea handed down to us by our ancestors, who looked enviously at the birds soaring freely in the space above them." I don't know. They taught us how to fly. They were perfect examples of how our imagination can change our concept of our world and literally change the world. And in less than a century, our understanding of this planet and beyond has been turned on its head. We don't think anything of reports of the latest space launch. Oh, they're doing it again. Or new discoveries in the universe. Oh, they found something new. And beyond, which is another concept that we're just dabbling our toes in. We almost take for granted when someone's imagination will take us above and beyond today's thinking. What about imagination that lifts communities and supports the people in the community? What the Wright brothers did was change the world. What does it take to keep our community, our own county, and our state progressive and thriving? From government to entrepreneurs, our county has businesses and pleasure. Businesses for both business and pleasure. Imagination, persistence, dedication, and caring must work together to keep our communities thriving. I don't know how many of you live in Grover Beach. We get a newsletter once a month, and I am boggled by some of the things they report that I had no idea were going on that was improving our community. I read a story recently that wouldn't leave me alone. And I wasn't planning on including it in this. I wasn't planning to put it into this talk. But I must. This is the story of a woman named Frances McGee, who is a common pleas court judge in Montgomery County, Ohio. She's the judge who determines the sentence for people who plead guilty to the charges against them. Her days are stressful with defendants' attorneys, state attorneys, all arguing and pleading and bargaining for the sentence that they think is just. She tries to fashion her judgments to fit the unique circumstances of each individual defendant. Many are decent individuals who've made poor choices. She starts each day with the prayer, "Give me the wisdom to help the people I meet change their lives for the better." It gives me another visual picture of a judge. This was the day before Thanksgiving, and the previous day had been particularly stressful. So along with thinking of the commitments that she'd made to her family for their multi-family Thanksgiving celebration, she was concerned with the decisions that she had made, wondering if what she had done was the very best, and feeling sadness for those whom she'd separated from their families for Thanksgiving by sending them to jail. As she was sitting at her desk, she heard voices of her staff as they were preparing the day's schedule, and then another voice spoke up. "May I speak with Judge McGee, please?" She was asked, "What is your name and what is this regarding?" "My name is Erica, and I've something important to tell her." Judge McGee's memories came rushing back. She saw Erica in the courtroom the first time she had entered, and her face was all scrunched up, and her hair was wild and unkempt, and her attitude was the same as her hair. She dropped out of high school and had trouble with drugs since her early teens. She was mother to a young girl and on public assistance. She was pleading guilty to yet another possession of drugs charge, and prison time didn't seem appropriate. So Judge McGee told herself, look at her and try to see the face of God. She told Erica, "I'm going to put you on probation, but there are 3 conditions. You will return in 90 days and show me that you are serious about becoming a law-abiding citizen. I want a 2-page report on goals and objectives for the next 5 years, and you will earn your GED certificate. If these conditions are not met, I have no choice but to revoke your parole and send you to jail. If you work hard and set a good example for your daughter, I know you can do anything you set your mind to do." Erica's 2-page report came soon, and it showed she dreamed of owning 2 companies, a catering company and a beauty shop. She wanted her daughter to graduate high school and to go to college, wanted to have a better life than Erica had had so far. And she wanted to help her family, the rest of her family, work toward a better life. The last time Judge McGee had seen Erica, she was progressing with the GED, but math was hard. Then the economy tanked. Money for probation monitoring was no longer available, and Judge McGee reluctantly terminated Erica's probation. Erica came into the room looking radiant. "Do you remember me?" "Of course." "Judge McGee, I have something to tell you. I passed my GED." She hugged her. "I'm so proud of you. Tell me about it." "It was really hard, but I just kept trying until I finally passed. I'm the very first person in my family to have a high school diploma." My daughter will graduate next year, and we're going to go to college together. She said, I'm so glad you shared this with me. What made you stick to it? You told me if I worked hard, I could do anything, and I wanted my daughter to be proud of me. I've got to go. I have a friend in court today, and I want to be there for her. I need to let her know that if I can make it, she can too. And she was out of the room. And suddenly, for Judge McGee, the job ahead didn't seem so daunting. Thanksgiving had arrived early. Working with people pleading guilty to the crimes that they had committed, her duty was to determine the appropriate penalty. In each instance, she had to consider, she had to use her imagination for a penalty that was appropriate for both the defendant and the community. And she'd visualized a better, different life for Erica, one in which she could thrive, one in which she could turn her life around. If that isn't changing your community, one person at a time, I don't know what is. Do you? What about changing our own lives and the lives of those in our friends and our families? I'm full of the stories today, people, but somehow the stories explain what I'm trying to tell you much more clearly than I can with rhetoric. I have a beautiful daughter. Now, I'm not the least bit prejudiced. She's beautiful both inside and out. And when their two children were growing up, this was like 25 years ago and longer, Julie and Craig regularly opened their home to children and young people who needed a safe place to be. Their intent was always to extend the love that they had in their family and the caring to those around them. And they used their imagination to visualize what that might look like. Sometimes it was aligned with foster care. I remember some of the little ones they took in as part of the foster care program. Several times it was to be of service to friends. The young people would stay a while, then move on to their next experience. And often Craig and Julie would lose touch with them. Excuse me. Thank you. A month or so ago, Julie had a health challenge, which required surgery. Her friends sent her love and good wishes for her rapid recovery on Facebook. And included among these was a letter. The letter was from a young woman named Jess. Jess is the daughter of Craig's relative. And the family had planned on moving from Kansas to Colorado, where Craig and Julie live. And the move was scheduled to take place halfway through the first semester of high school for Jess. Julie could just only imagine what it would be like for Jess to start her first year of high school in Kansas, then have to break away and find a new high school in Colorado. And so they invited Tish and Doug to send Jess to them and let her start high school at the school she would continue with when they moved to Colorado. This is Jess's letter. Hey, Aunt Julie, it's Jess. I know you're going through it, but I just want to say how much I genuinely love you and Uncle Craig. Literally, when I needed you guys, you stepped up in such a big way for me. You showed me what unconditional love looks like and what a happy marriage looks like too. I will forever be so, so grateful to you. You were such a huge part of why I had 18 blessed years in a happy marriage. I'm not kidding. If you need anything, I'm here. Also, when I was younger, you were so cool and fun. I legitimately wanted to be you. How do you think Julie felt getting that? This was 25 years ago. Jess is now a 40-year-old. And by Julie visualizing a better experience for Jess, the letter clearly indicates that they changed her life, and in turn, they changed the life of Jess's family. And again, I can't just imagine, whoops, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I can just imagine what this means within this whole family, what this action that Craig and Julie took, the impact it has had. You know, all the time I've been preparing this talk, I've had a song running through my head. The lyrics of the Beatles' Imagine. But I'm going to read you something that mirrors that, but it's in prose. There's a massive change coming for the better, happening on the planet right now. This change won't be on the news, and it hasn't gone viral. And if you don't look for it, you won't even notice it's happening. This change is quietly happening in the hearts of humanity. People are realizing that we become what we focus our attention on. And we influence this reality based on who we become. So people are realizing that fighting is senseless and focusing on the chaos is futile. Rather, people are quietly focusing on creating their versions of heaven on earth. They are healing themselves and focusing on creating more beauty. People have realized that awakening to their own divinity is what protects them from manipulation and allows them to become the change they want to see. It's sweeping through nations, but it's hard to notice. However, its strength is growing in numbers, not strength in numbers to fight. Fighting only breeds more fighting. It's strength in numbers to create such a beautiful world that will be obvious to others to join in, to the point where one day they will hold a war and no one will come. The frequencies of war, greed, and manipulation will no longer be able to exist in a reality full of sovereign, awakened beings living connected to their divinity. I'm on board for that.
Yeah.
I'll join in that one. You know, one of Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, one of his most loved quotes, "There's a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it." Is there any doubt that we are constantly using that one power? Our lives depend on it for every breath. Charles and Merton Fillmore outlined for us the 12 powers, the faculties that we use in every moment of our lives, whether or not we're cognizant of it. But that one power infuses every aspect of our lives. When we invoke the power of imagination, we are placing our hands into the hands of the one creative power that is all there is. Is there any doubt that each one of the people that I use, the examples I use today, any doubt at all that they were putting their hands into the hands of the one power? Every time the Wright brothers lifted off from the earth, every time Judge McGee gave someone an opportunity to improve their lives, every time my daughter gave children a chance to see what a happy home looked like, that's placing our hands in the hands of that one power. With that power enfolding us, that massive change is, I believe, the natural unfolding of the future of our world. Namaste.